Hey everybody, happy Monday to you. Gonna be knocking out Creature from the Black Lagoon today. That was one of the ones that got voted on and held up, so that's what we're gonna go with. Um, gonna post this over on the page so everybody can see that I'm live, and then we're gonna tear this up. I think I'm gonna do something a little different today too. I'm gonna sketch this up and go from there. But I may even ink this one if it comes off quick enough. I don't know. I'll have to see. But as of right now, we will definitely do this and get going here. I'm gonna grab one of my throat drops here. Bear with me because I do not want to start coughing midstream here. So anyway, this is one of my favorite horror characters of all time. I mean, from the classic, Universal style movies, this is one of those guys that just gets highly underrated and does not get the kind of love that he should. And everybody's like, well, Jaws is the ultimate monster movie for water, and I'm like, nah, Jaws is a guppy compared to this guy. This is one of those characters that's actually truly 100% creepy as hell. And I don't swear much, but man, that's just exactly where it comes from. It is a passionate love for this guy. Um, this would be my mutant bromance, as my nephew would put it. Um, this dude is awesome. I have no doubts about it. And I used to love to draw this guy all the time when I was younger. That movie when I was a kid creeped the crap out of me. And I watched it when I was like 4 years old. And I know it's lame and it's a zipper suit movie, and whatnot with the divers and all that. But still, it left an impression on me that it was supposed to. It left the same impression for me that it left for most people in the 50s when it came out, Um, that was one of those things, or maybe even the 40s. I don't remember the date exactly, but which shame on me for not having the facts straight. I know, sorry about that. My bad. But yeah, it's just one of those things where that character came along perfectly in the time that it needed because it was, right at the turn where everybody was doing the whole beach vacation thing as the prime source of entertainment. And then, they mixed a horror movie into it. And now that you watch it, if you watch it again now, it's pretty lame. But at the time, this was like cream of the crop, man. I mean, it didn't come any better than this. And the character still stands up till today. It's just outstanding. But, as a character concept. But if they were to remake this one today, I would be in line like 6 months before, waiting outside the theater with tickets like pre-ordered as soon as they were available, and I would have like 50 tickets for like 50 days, so I could sit there and just watch it over and over and over again, and that would be my thing because I love horror, as you guys know, but this one is a big one for me. I love this character. I would love to see it come back and to see them reboot it instead of Dracula or the Mummy again. I would really prefer them to go with some of the other alternative monsters. Um, the werewolf stuff is pretty popular too, but I'm a little tired of the Prime 3. I'd rather see something really interesting because it's always the vampires or, the werewolves that get the credit and get the props. And this guy doesn't get hardly anything, and he's one of the scariest monsters out there because you can't see him coming. I mean, he is the ultimate spook. So, um, because of the fact that he just jumps up out of the water and comes out of nowhere. And that's what, is thrilling about those movies is you never know what to expect with it. So I love characters like this that come up out of nowhere. Now, granted, I'm on a little later than I said I would be today because of the fact that I just got so swamped. I'm producing a how-to course for comics and doing back-to-back stuff for some marketing training for artists as well as marketers. And it's just getting in full force, man. I said I was coming back into the marketing side of things, and I've held up to it 100%, and I am just swamped. And I'm also catching up for end of the year stuff right now for some comic projects, which I still got to do because I got a back burner thing that I've got to get up off my table for a good friend for a anthology next month, and I've just got to get that in gear real quick. But anyway, this is just a blast going on these cards, and believe it or not, this is card 160. I have 158 days on live, and I have that's my session count, and I have for the daily card, and I have another couple of extra in there, of course, but that's not, they're not on different days, so I slipped them in around the cards and stuff. But the cool part is that I've been doing this for 158 days straight, and yeah, it's phenomenal. I'm having a blast with it, and I'm going to keep going as long as you guys want to keep watching. But if you quit watching, I'm going to quit doing it. But we'll keep going. So I've gotten a bunch of requests today, and like I said, I'm not doing Inktober. I'm doing this from my card list, but I know a bunch of people have been asking me for it. So, to do some of the horror stuff around the Halloween time. So I thought, what the hey, I'll jump on here and do it. But almost got my book done, and I'm very pleased with that. I got some stuff back today from the printer test for the POD for you guys, so you can have my books now on print on demand as well as on digital. So I don't sell them fast enough to do a bunch of hard prints, but I want the print on demand option, and it just suits my market better. And the digital stuff, everybody's been begging me to load those to the site so everybody can download them and whatnot. I'm upgrading a couple of things like my shopping cart, stuff like that, so you guys can get all of that great stuff and get in there and buy my stuff. Buy my stuff. But this is coming out really, really well. I'm happy with this. Now, a lot of people draw him with a human mouth, but the thing is, he actually has an overlap. If you ever draw this guy, make sure you put in the overlap, because he has this hook that wraps around like a fish mouth. It's actually overlapping. Actually, is the word of the day, apparently. It's overlapping like a fish. So be sure to draw that out, because if you don't, it'll make it look weird, and he won't have that that fish look that you're looking for if you give him a humanoid mouth. It just doesn't work. And I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you don't do it, it's not going to show up. It will not look like the creature. I get asked about that when I do these horror things. Sorry for spinning the cards so much. I know I'm making everybody dizzy. I'm trying to figure out which section I want to go on next. But yeah, this is going to be the plates for his shoulder, where his shoulder and chest meet. They kind of segment with a dark spot there. And I think that's just because they didn't connect the pieces. But it is what it is. We'll say that's, there's skin under there, and that's don't break the illusion, man. Do you guys get irritated at that when people break the illusion or something like that? A family member, she'll know who she is when I say it. She watches the lives and stuff, and I know she'll understand when she hears it. But yeah, she busted the Hulk for me bad when I was younger, because of the Hulk growing so big, but yet never ripping off his pants. And she said, that his pants don't ever rip off. And him being such a little bitty guy, especially from Bill Bixby's approach versus Lou Ferrigno in the original series, television-wise, it's one of those things where it was always funny because he was so huge, and he wore those purple pants, but they would shred up and all that, and they would look purple against his green, but they were actually brown corduroy when Bill Bixby was wearing them. And my mom kind of did that, and I guess I'll go ahead and rat her out. It was my mom, but she thought that was funny. My nephew has a good one too. He came up. He was like 4 years old, and he came up and tried to bust Batman for me. And he said, Spider-Man has webs and spider sense and can climb walls. Superman has laser vision and cold breath and X-ray vision and can fly. What does Batman have? And he stuck his hands on his hips as a little 4-year-old, 5-year-old kid and goes, Robin to the Batcave. And, it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. It's like they try to break down my whole pop culture fanhood here. That's family for you. But, yeah, I go on a side tangent there, but, have you ever had anybody do that to you where they bust down your fan favorites and just tear through them like that? And I mean, not the jerky critics, that come along and try to cause grief about it or anything crazy like that. I mean, drama's drama, but what I'm talking about is fun little things like that pop along, just unexpected, as observations people make. It's just strange how that all plays out sometimes with those things going on. And if you got any stories like that, be sure to tell me about them, because I love to hear stuff like that, because I've got a kind of a wicked sense of humor anyway, and I think that stuff's hilarious. So if you get any stories going on like that, let me know, because I think that stuff's just freaking funny. And I didn't get heartbroken or anything about it, but now it's a running family joke with my mom and my brother about my nephew and Batman, which he's a teenager now, so that was many moons ago, but it's still busting me up to no end. Getting all these fins in here now, these bristle hairs for the fin on the side of his head and the back of his neck, because they drape around across the back and go to the other side as well. And I always found that weird, because they stop here on the side, so he's got the old man bald crown going on, but this one stops up here on the side of his head, this one goes around towards the back, and this one skirts all the way around underneath the two. So it's odd, but it is what it is. So pretty cool. It's a great design. Whoever designed this costume just needs all kinds of props, because that's movie makeup at its best. I mean, since this guy came along, this was the predecessor to whoever created, the alien suits and all that. That kind of stuff is just phenomenal. I just get all crazy about that stuff, because I love makeups and stuff like that as well. Science fiction makeups and movie makeups and whatnot. And then how this stuff goes about. They use the same kind of material that they made this suit out of that they did in the first Swamp Thing. I mean, it was basically a wetsuit that they dressed up, and I just dig that kind of stuff, where they take practical pieces and turn them into something phenomenal. But it's I don't know. It's interesting to see how that all plays out. I really dig that stuff. As many of you know, I'm a huge fan of Face Off, and I don't do reality TV. I don't like reality TV hardly at all. But I'm talking too fast now. My vocal cords, because I haven't spoken except in a microphone all day. Now they're gonna get scratchy on me. Excuse that. But yeah, I just don't do a lot of the reality stuff. Survivor and all that mess. Nothing against anybody that likes it. I just don't prefer to do it. I'm more into the competitive stuff. I do watch Face Off. I do watch Ink Master, which I know they're reality as well, but they're reality competition shows as well. But it's just got more of an art form for me and more relative to what I do. So that's why I dig it a little more. But anyway, don't know why I'm giving this personal spiel today. It's probably because so many people have asked me. It's like, what do you watch, man? What inspires you? Costume wise, I love watching movie magic, behind the scenes stuff. But artistically, for comics, I have so many influences. It's nuts. I make people cringe at how much I have and follow and study and whatnot. Because I study my art form like I do my business, and it's just tons and tons and tons and tons of knowledge. I love to learn stuff. I'm a geek. I'm really nerdy that way, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So, don't hate, man. Don't hate. What do you guys use for that? Let me know what you guys use. What are your influences? Where do you get your art influences and stuff like that? I mean, do you look at photography? Do you look, do you use the almighty Google, or do you go from your imagination, or what? Because I like to draw from my imagination. I like to use reference for circumstantial purposes, like making sure the costume's right and that kind of thing. But other than that, man, I draw from my own head, because if I don't, then I take on that style of the reference, and it sucks. And that's a technical term, by the way. For you youngsters out there, please don't use that. Your moms and dads will get upset with me. Yeah, it's one of those things where I use the reference, look at the accuracy of the costume, and then I move on. And I try to get it as close as possible. A lot of times I don't, which I take creative license with that and basically say I don't care, because I'm not that strict about it, because it's what my brain interpreted, and that's what I'm going to put out there. But I say that now, but however, I bust the chops of, my team whenever they don't put out stuff the way it's supposed to. I'm like, that shoulder doesn't look right, that arm doesn't look right, that this doesn't look right. Fix it. Fix it, slacker. So, but and then strangely enough, I find myself arguing with myself most of the time, because I'm the one doing it. But anyway, we won't go there. I'm saying, dang it, my mommy had me test it. I'm not crazy. I love that little Sheldon humor. Now, I don't do these exactly accurate with these scales, because no matter what you think about scaling, fish grow at their own genetic base, and one of the funny things about it is their patterns are different. I mean, it's just like looking at a leopard and the spots. They're going to have spots and they're going to have traits, right? But the funny thing about it is, each one of them is different. If you look, every pattern on each one, if you were now you wouldn't want to go do this, and I don't recommend it. But if you were to take every leopard and take the skin off of them and do a 3D map like a rug and lay them out, every pattern would be unique. And that's just that's with a dog, that's with any animal. And that I see people all the time tell me, those scales aren't straight. You're not supposed to. Yeah. I love perfectionism as much as anybody else, and having the craft look right and real and done, but understand the fact that, in reality, it's not that way. So chill out. I'd rather be productive and get the drawing done than make it perfect to where it's spooky clean. You know what I mean? Because then it doesn't look hand drawn. It looks like it's a photograph that's been superimposed as a picture. I see that a lot. I know a lot of artists that use nothing but photographic reference and have to go and get that stuff taken, on purpose. And they have to pay thousands of dollars to models to get, all this stuff done throughout the year. And It's just really, I'm not that fixed on it. I would just rather get the drawing done, and if it's a little bit different here and there, so what? You know what I mean? So, but take what I say with a grain of salt. To each their own. I mean, if you feel that way, and no offense to you if you do, but that's not my style and how I work. So please don't come at me and tell me, hey man, your stuff's not perfect and I'm not going to hire you or work with you because your stuff doesn't fit. Or I'm not going to read your books because this stuff doesn't fit. Oh, okay. There's more books out there for you to do that with. Okay, go ahead. Because there are artists that are so strict. Marketers as well. I've seen a lot of people go off and, have to say the perfect word and, no ahs and no ums in their podcast and no, I'm just, if I get the information across in a good take and I didn't swear at you and I didn't get frustrated or slip or, say something stupid or too overly bearingly stupid, I have no problem with it. It's good. We'll call it a good take, I'd rather be real and sincere and get you the information and talk to you like I'm talking to you in life, because the odds and ums are going to be there because I stop in mid-sentence and think about stuff. And I really do that. My mind goes so fast because I'm programmed to do that, because I've worked so hard to think as fast as I do to process things on an instantaneous basis. I go through and, not saying I'm superhuman or anything weird like that. I'm just saying I've got that habit. So instead, my brain will go, wait a minute. And I'll need to stop and think about something. And I'll say, and then give you an answer. And that's part of why I do that. I stutter that way because of the fact that it's part of my personal makeup, That's what I do. But, don't let anybody tell you, as an artist, don't let anybody tell you around whatever, and they're just like, well, this sucks because you didn't do this, so many scales aren't on here. Bite me. You know what I mean? Life's too short to be that persistent in perfectionism. And if you do that, you'll drive yourself crazy that way and you'll never get anything drawn. That was part of my problem for a long time, is that I was trying to draw everything perfect. And, Jack Kirby told me, when one time I got to talk to him was in passing in Dallas, and I never got to meet him any other time other than that, and it was a passing thing. And I got a chance to ask him one question as he was getting out, and it was on a conference table, and he taught, I didn't get to meet him up personal, and he told me flat out, if you get this thing going, he said, get in there and produce the work and then walk away. He said, don't worry about perfection, because he said, whatever's on the table and page at the end of the day is perfect. That's where you're at. And he said, that is perfect to me. And I was just like, okay, cool. And, a lot of other artists told me the same thing. And, I got to see a panel with John Byrne, and he said, what is perfectionism? And he got all philosophical with it. And it's just, that's one of his things. He likes to go on, things like that. And it's just, I was just like, wow, okay. But I was told a long time ago, if you try to do perfect, you'll never get anything drawn. You'll be all day, forever trying to get it perfect, and you'll waste all your supplies trying to make it so. So sit down and do the work and get it done. And then, what's there is there. And that isn't perfection. That is perfectionism within itself. Okay. To anybody that wants to be that way, to anybody who wants to be an artist like that, or a marketer, or a business person, or, if you want to design T-shirts, any kind of creative design, whatever it is, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It's about production, not perfectionism. And if you don't, you're going to be spinning your wheels for years to come. That's just one of those things where people take themselves too seriously, because anybody can be an expert these days, and anybody can have whatever is going on in their world as gospel, because we're so isolated, but yet we're so socially connected where we can become anything and whatever. Don't get into that trap. Do the artwork, do what's there for you, make sure you're getting your job done, and move forward. That's what I say. So, but like this guy right here, this is, like I said, this is just a wetsuit. It was a rubber wetsuit that they had made and put the plates on. And these scales aren't perfect, but I guarantee you he's coming along just fine. So we'll keep trucking along with that. It works. And I'm getting a bunch of private messages from the kids here asking me questions about starting comics and things like that. If you want to start a comic, let me answer that question for you real quick. How do you start a comic? Well, first thing, you get a good concept together. And I'm going to assume that you have one, okay? But you get your concept together. You get the scripts written. You get them edited. And then here's the thing. You start drawing the comic book and put it out there. That's it. You write it. You draw it. You put it out there. It's done. Just make sure that you edit it for, indiscrepancies like grammar, things like that. I had a problem with Catman Evolution #1 because of the fact that the editor sent the old copy to the pre-press manufacturer, and they printed one of my samples that way, and I was like, no, this is the wrong one. And I thought it was their file screw up, and it turned out to be my editor sent the wrong file. So, edit and then re-edit. That's the big thing I can tell you about it. But other than that, though, stick it out there, because if you don't put it out, nobody will ever know it's there. And if you don't go with it and you try to make it perfect, again, like the conversation before, you'll be stuck in perfectionism vortex. I won't go to the language here, what I was going to say. A specific place that represents the devil. Yeah, we'll say that. But I already used my one for the day. I'm not going to use another on air. But anyway, it'll send you to a specific void where you can't get anything done. And I would hate to see you lose your creative juices, lost in limbo, in comparison to getting a book out there, because you're trying to make it perfect when it already is by existing. Think about that. It is all by already existing, okay? So get it out there, show it to the world. And if they criticize you, then that means it's just not resonating with them, Don't go change your book. I actually saw a good friend of mine, a really good art friend of mine, take her book completely offline. I'm not going to mention who it was. She took her book completely offline, and I had her put it back because of the fact that what happened was a critic, a comic book critic from CBR, came on and reviewed her book and then ripped her a new one because of what's going on for an interview that's coming up in November. And I was just like, no. You put that book back and you leave it alone. You don't let them take you over with that book. That's one person's opinion, and I'll give you 20 different broadcasters that will interview you for the same thing and give you a good, solid review. Whether they like it or not, they'll give you a good, respectable review. And I was just like, this crap needs to stop of people living in fear. So put your book out there if you got it, and show it off and let the world see it. And whoever's supposed to like it will like it. Whoever doesn't like it, that's okay too. Tell them thank you for your opinion and move on. Okay? That's the best way to do it. Put your book out there. But to answer the question hardcore, flat out, put your book out there. Get it out there. If you don't get it out there, no one else will. Or you could fall to the other catch-22 of that and face somebody else that comes out with a really good idea close to yours and gets a copy written and put out first. And then guess what? You're sitting twiddling your thumbs. Think about that one. That's a scary thought. So answer up, step up, and if you got a book in your hand and in your head and on your table, put that sucker out there. That's what I'm doing every month. So, and thank goodness now that I get to start working on Firestorm again. I've been chawing at the bit to work on these books and get them out for you guys and, share and whatnot. But, yeah, get it out there, get it going, get it done. I have the utmost respect, no matter, especially at the young man that's talking to me right now about that question. I'm going to tell your age. I'm not going to tell your name, but this young man is 10 years old, and he's already got 3 comic books. ready to go, and his dad is going to help him publish them. I will be sharing that information. If he makes that go through, I will be sharing that information because of the fact that I want this guy to pick up this book and share it with the world the way he needs to. It is a superhero book, but and I know a lot of people are down on heroes right now, but I'll tell you what, for this young man to put it out there like that, I wish I would have at that age, because I've been drawing stuff since I was, oh, good Lord, 5, 6, somewhere around there. And there's so many young ideas that come up through young people like that, and they don't ever get to blossom and come out. And I'm going to tell you guys flat out, if you have a youth in your life that you can inspire, get out there and do it. You know, help them, show support, because this young guy is going to be kicking some of the comic pros' butts that I know out here pretty quick, because of the fact he's putting out a book and they're not, which says a lot by leaps and bounds. So, you know, be sure and step up. So that's all I'm saying about that. But hope that answers your question, bud. And now I'm going to go right over here and put in the chinny chin chin. Yay! So I'm going to put in that black fish chin that he's got going on. You know, however, he's got the bald man wraparound thing going on, you know, the Picard wraparound. And then he's got the weakest chin to be one of the coolest characters in movie monster history. He's got one of the weakest chins because they tried to make his head look like a fish, you know, and they tried to press it out that way. And the wrinkles made it hard to do that because they can't have the fish wrinkles up here and then have that chin. They had to wrinkle it down under here too. And that was a big problem with the look. Because if they'd have given him a masculine chin, it would have looked funky. It would have broken the fish look. But they wanted him to look smooth and rounded, and that's what they got. But with the water there, the webbed claws here, the eyes, the fish, the lips, the fins, I think we got it. I'm going to say we got it. Hey, thanks for the cover, Kevin. I appreciate it, man. I'm trying to keep it. Yeah, I'm trying to keep it cool for the youngsters, man. That's the big thing. I want to keep it clean for the youngsters. Now I want to tell you guys something crazy. Okay, I know I mentioned this already, but I want to mention it again. This is my 158th Facebook Live session in a row. I've been doing this for 5 straight months now. 158. I have 160 cards. This is 160 right here. You notice my nice green Hulk Band-Aid. But this is my 160th card. You know, I hear all the time, well, I can't produce every day and I can't do this and do that. Think about this. If you took the same 20, 30 minutes that I took to do this card every day in your life, if you took 30 minutes out of your day to do something productive like this, to work on your comic book, in a month's time, you could have a comic done. You know, if you just put in 30 minutes a day, you could make it, that's multiple hours, you know, that's like 60 hours in the average month. Think about that. It's like, well, 30 minutes a day is nothing, but think about it. If you put in 30 minutes every day for 30 days, you know, you're looking 60 to 90 hours in extra time, depending on how long you run over. So just think about it. That's an extra 60 hours out of your month that you're doing. You don't even work your day job that much. But yeah, you could do 30 minutes a day and still have a comic book completed by the end of the month. And, you know, that's pretty daggone cool if you think about it. So, you know, I do this for persistence, consistency, and production. Okay? I do this for production. Because, you know, what I do when I turn around, let me show you something real quick. I'll grab this, and I know you guys have seen these 1,000 times already, but Allow me to demonstrate something as to what 30 minutes a day for just 5 months can get you. I don't want these to go all over the place, but 30 minutes a day, 5 months, boom, right here, card, 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 all these cards right here. That's what 5 months at 30 minutes a day has gotten me. Now imagine how many panels that would be, because these are 3x5. So imagine how many panels that would be in compressed service to everything else going on with comic book basis size of 11x17. You know, you're looking easily 30 pages. Think about that one, people. So when people tell me, well, I just don't have time, my job gets in the way, I say, well, your time management sucks. And that's a technical term, mind you. But, think about that. What are you doing in that time, I mean, anybody can burn up 30 minutes. I do it on a daily basis, talking around, just wasting time. I'll be messing around and waste 30 minutes and be so mad at myself because it's like, that's 30 minutes gone now. Well, but my lab appreciates it because he gets to play time outside with the ball, which is his favorite thing in the world. He loves me to throw either a ball or a crushed 2-liter soda bottle, which is his favorite thing in the world. Those are his two favorite toys, and I have to pick it. I have to take the bottle in and throw it away all the time, or rinse it off or put it back somewhere because that's, I don't want to keep that stuff around my house. But whenever we have a 2-liter, we empty out his 2-liter of soda or something, it's just phenomenal. He wants to play with it, and I'll burn up 30 minutes throwing that around the yard. And he loves to go catch those bottles and bring them back because they pop when he bites them. And he'll crush it and bring it back to me. There's 30 minutes right there. But anybody can find 30 minutes. You lay in bed pondering 30 minutes away. I mean, you know what I do for 30 minutes a day? Right here. So what could you do if you put in just 30 minutes invested into your artwork every single day for the next 6 months? What would you be able to do? You'd be able to do a comic if you wanted to do one on your own. If you wanted to do a one-shot, if you wanted to do an anthology with sub-stories in it, if you wanted to do something for your kid, if you wanted to do a freelance project, a one-off book, or if you wanted to do something long-term, think about this. You could build up 30 to 60 to 70 pages in a 30-minute period per day. I mean, that's not production level for comic books, but you think about this. If you work for 6 months and you produce 60 pages at 30 minutes a day, and you get 30 pages a month, you've got a full comic book right there, and you got a 90-page graphic novel at the end of 3 months, and then at 6 months you've got double that, so you got 180 pages. Well, I'm sorry, but you're doing just as much production work as a regular comic artist does professionally, and even more so by about 5 pages. So you're ahead of the curve right there. So don't tell me it can't be done. It's just a matter of what you're doing and what you put into it. Because if you do a full image like this in 30 minutes and you ink it in an hour, what can you do with that hour of time towards a comic page? So I'm just saying. But anyway, I'm going to step off the soapbox now. I'm going to wish you guys a great day. I don't know what I'm going to be drawing tomorrow. I've got a list here, but I'm going to put up a couple more options to pick through for you guys. And I wanted to tone down this eyelid real quick. So I'm going to give a couple of options in the morning and let you guys check it out and see. But I got to get back to this and get another podcast recorded, and then I got to do a little bit about dinner. I'm making a special treat for my family tonight. I'm making some baked fish that I do because I'm a foodie as well. And yeah, it's just one of those things, man. I just wanted to cook and do that. I'm the chef in my house, by the way. So, if you're telling guys, if you're telling your girls, men don't cook, stop that. Because originally, think about this. Originally, women weren't allowed in the kitchen. Did you know that? Up to like 1950 in Europe, women weren't allowed in the kitchen. That's why Julia Child had to work her way through her French course, because of the fact that she wasn't, not just because she was American, but she was a woman. There's a movie called Julie and Julia that I saw a while back that was based off the blogger that reproduced all of her her cookbook. And I tell you what, I mean, it's a chick flick, but that gives a good view on that prospect of what women had to go through. That perspective more so about what women had to go through to get cooking. So, I mean, that's just my 2 cents on it. But hey, what can I say? It's an insight about everything, right? Life in general. That's a good way to talk about it. But yeah, you guys go off and make a nice meal for your family, and put in your 30 minutes, dadgummit, and draw something. So anyway, all joking and rambling aside, I appreciate you guys hanging out. We'll talk at you tomorrow. Take care.